BYU fans, time to talk, baby. Line them up. What you did in losing to Kansas this week was not good. Tough to sugarcoat. As I was watching this, the rage that filled me, the fire A-Rod that climbed up my spine was an overreaction. How do you fire an offensive coordinator at 9-1? Now, I'll tell you. Can I give you some of the bad news first? Of your last 26 possessions, you have scored 3 touchdowns. 1 of 6 against UCF in the second half, 1 of 12 against Utah, 1 of 8 against Kansas. This from Nick Lee. That is not good. Kansas had given up from Darnell Dixon 29 or more points 5 times this season. The Cougars managed 13 at home, 2 empty possessions inside the red zone. Is that bad for your OC? Yes. Is it bad for your quarterback, for your running back, for your offensive line? Probably. Is this bad for your college football playoff chances? Absolutely. Is this an excusable loss in the eyes of the committee? No, you played a 3-6 Kansas team that you should blow the doors off of. But there is solace. There is reprieve. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And, buddy, there is hope. You still control your destiny. You play an Arizona State team this week that if you win, if you don't freak out, if everyone stays calm, you're going to go to the Big 12 championship. You can win the Big 12 championship and still go to the college football playoff. The immediate reaction is certainly, well, we got to fire somebody. We got to do something. How do you lose to this porous Kansas team? And maybe there's some validation to not wanting to lose to this brand, this 3-6 team. And you really haven't played well 3 of your last 4 games. Utah, you win it on what many would say is a miracle. Oklahoma State, you win it on another miracle drive. UCF, you go on the road, you dominate. But other 3 out of those 4, including that Kansas loss, were not good. Who are the best Big 12 teams right now? Like if BYU played Colorado today, it wouldn't go well based on the trajectory of BYU. You scored 13 points against a very bad Kansas defense. If BYU played Arizona State, as we'll see, eye test, momentum, power ranking, I don't know what that looks like for BYU. If they played Baylor again, we just saw they did against Kansas, who's hot right now. BYU is not hot right now. But what's good is if we all take a deep breath, kind of sit down for a second, and I know this is not normal territory for BYU fans, and to be honest with you, this is why I brought you here after class. I'm not used to this either. Big 12 teams aren't used to this situation. The only perennial college football playoff contender we had was Oklahoma. And that wasn't in a 12-team format. This is new for all of us. The experience of having a school at the doorstep of a college football playoff, I understand why you want to freak out, why I want to freak out, when everybody's saying, all right, is BYU dead after 1 loss? Because now the entire league's talking about, oh, it's pure chaos. Oh, it's going to cannibalize. Oh, there's no way. Oh, BYU doesn't have enough momentum to beat Arizona State. I think if you throw all of that out the window and give me back the BYU that beat Kansas State, give me back the BYU that focuses on the middle 8, give me the BYU that scores in the red zone, you have a mulligan. You have a mulligan. That's why I love the 12-team playoff of the college football, the new college football playoff format. You can lose a game. Now, the timing of it certainly matters. Notre Dame, their game against Northern Illinois doesn't exist anymore. No one cares anymore. Alabama's lost to Vanderbilt. No one cares anymore. If BYU had lost to SMU, but won against Kansas, and was 9-1 via that route, it would be so much better for BYU because there's timeliness in this whole deal. But even so, given 12 teams, you can lose a game and still be okay. We don't get the respect. The Big 12 does not get the respect that it deserves at the top level. We understand that. We can't grab you up, pick you up by your bootstraps, and carry you to that finish line. They don't love us enough to do that. But the format is going to love you based on the idea that you can lose a game and still be safe, which is how it goes now for a team that ultimately controls its destiny. The outside noise, the gloom and doom, the fire somebody, it's wrong. If you win every game ahead of you, you're in the college football playoff undisputed. And I'm going to say something. If you're a BYU staffer, if you work for the university, if you're a coach, if you're somebody directly tied to that football program, plug your ears for like 45 seconds. If you're a fan, I'm going to tell you the harsh news that kind of rocks for you. There's a non-zero chance, pretty good chance, Boise State is ranked ahead of BYU and gets the 4 spot and the bye. What does that mean for BYU? A home playoff game. You go 12-1. You're the number 7 seed. And I know the coaches want to buy. I know the coaches are not talking about, oh, well, we can position ourselves to have a game in Provo at night, LES, Vampire Cougs. That's not the rhetoric right now. But if it's just me and you, the fans, talking, it would kind of rock to have a playoff game in Provo. I would go. Can you imagine what that atmosphere would be like? BYU hosting Indiana, maybe. BYU hosting Ole Miss. BYU hosting Alabama. Of course the Cougs get up for a game like that. And there's a real shot you win that game. BYU hosting SMU. Miami. Can you imagine? It's not all that bad. Again, I'm going through this for the first time. You're going through this for the first time. The Big 12, for the most part, is trying to sift through these uncharted waters of a 12-team college football playoff. And your first reaction when your number 1 undefeated team loses to 3-6, your first reaction is to toss in the towel and say, this is it. We've completely fallen into chaos. It only gets worse from here. Arizona State's going to win. BYU might be a 3-loss team outside of the Big 12 championship. It was all for naught. I know, as all of us rallying together as underdogs, I know why that has been the sentiment. But it's not reality. It's not what has to happen. Sky is not falling yet. BYU is not dead yet. Your football season is not over yet. There's hope for BYU, even if you're outside of the top 12 this week. Just beat Arizona State, and you have another top 25 win. And then you're back in the top 12. Beat Houston. And both those teams are playing well. Houston less so now. But you beat Houston, now you're 11-1. Go to the Big 12 championship, you win it, you're in. You lose the Big 12 championship, you still have 11 wins, and the committee told me they're not going to take conference championship into account to penalize teams. If that is the case, if that truly is the case, you're okay. 11-2, you're okay. They're not going to penalize you for that extra game. Whereas 11-1 sitting on your couch would have gotten you in. I don't think it's as bad as many of us made it seem immediately after, and as many BYU fans, understandably so, were upset, ready to fire somebody, ready to lose their minds after the loss. Just hold on. Ye of much faith. I know you've got faith in there. There's one thing BYU fans have, it's that. Hold on to it, because the players are on Twitter. The coaches are on Twitter. They see it. So just like blast positivity, dude. That's the best thing you can do for the team at this point. If they know, hey, the fans are behind it, they're going to show up on the road this week. That's how the Big 12 wins at the top. Calm down. It's not that deep. Take a deep breath. This has been It Always Will Be. Come back the rest of the week for tomorrow. I'm going to tell you why BYU will beat Arizona State. I'll also tell you why Arizona State will beat BYU on Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.